a dead issue. And he tells NBC's Garrett Haake he will not answer any more questions about it. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But the files are the talk of Washington today. The birthday book is out, and with it, the apparent birthday card and drawing Donald Trump sent to Epstein. The White House says the signature is not his, that the tail on the end of Donald is not something he does with his signatures. Except if you go back to the era when the card was supposedly sent, the tail on the end of Donald in his signature used to appear on quite a few of his signatures of the things that he sent. Just look at what the New York Times compiled. Here's the 2003 birthday card. That's at the top. Next to it, a 2001 letter to Rudy Giuliani, a 1998 letter to two New York City officials, a 1998 and a 1995 letter to Giuliani, and a 1987 letter to a New York City official as well. All of them, as you can see, have tails. Joining us now, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin. They force us to get into the game of who's a handwriting expert and who is not. If you're doing a defamation suit against the Wall Street Journal for reporting that this is his card, that he signed it, are they going to have to get a handwriting signature expert in to show that this is, in fact, Donald Trump's signature, or maybe it's not?
No, because while the truth is indeed a defense, all the Wall Street Journal has to show is that it didn't act with reckless disregard for the truth or with actual malice, and that they can amply show. There are a number of surrounding circumstances aside from the resemblance of this signature to Donald Trump's actual signature at the time that the Wall Street Journal can rely on for the authenticity of this document, including the fact that they interviewed multiple sources involved with the compilation of the book itself. There's also the fact, Katie, that later this week, the House Oversight Committee staff will come to New York. They'll get an opportunity to take a look at the original book in its unredacted format. That book was bound by a professional bookmaker here in New York in 2003. The idea that somebody would have slipped it in after the fact in order to make Donald Trump's life more difficult is all the more difficult to buy, given what else we know about it.
Tell me a little bit more about what has been discovered in this book.
The book, it's so interesting to me because I've poured through the book last night and again today. What comes across is how commonplace and ordinary Jeffrey Epstein's behavior with women and young girls was understood to be by people in his social circle. So when you look at Trump's letter in isolation, it certainly is creepy and disturbing. But what's even creepier is the fact that Trump's letter, read in order of the letters compiled in this book, seems totally commonplace with respect to how other people in Jeffrey Epstein's life understood him. Leslie Wexner, who was perhaps one of his clients, that's what we understand him to have been. He was the CEO of Victoria's Secret, wrote him a little note that said, Jeffrey, I wanted to get you just what you wanted for your birthday. And he has underneath it a crude drawing of a woman's breasts. There's another man, Joel Pashkow, who is a longtime Mar-a-Lago member, who among his submissions includes a picture of himself with Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and a fake check made out to Epstein by Trump for $22,500, which he jokes underneath the picture is the cost of a fully depreciated woman. There is also a woman with them in the picture whose identity is marked out. And it goes on and on. There are so many people in Jeffrey Epstein's life that seem to have known of his proclivity, not only for women, but for naked women in particular, for his fetishes about massages. There's an illustration, for example, of Jeffrey Epstein being massaged at his feet by one woman, at his shoulders by another, and being sexually serviced by two more in the cartoon. This was an open secret among his very entitled group of wealthy friends that thought that they were the exception to a rule, or maybe that there was no rule with respect to how to treat young women.
Well, let me play a little bit from the White House press briefing a moment ago. This is an exchange Caroline Levitt had, I believe, with Maggie Haberman of the New York Times.
Caroline, thank you. Just I want to follow up on something you said. You said the Epstein documents are a hoax that Democrats are perpetrating against the president. You've said he didn't sign that check, that he didn't sign the birthday card that he allegedly signed. So what is the theory, since these documents came from the Epstein estate? Who is I guess, in your view, faking these documents?
I did not say the documents are a hoax. I said the entire narrative surrounding Jeffrey Epstein right now that is absorbing many of the liberal cable channels on television is a hoax that is being perpetuated by opportunistic Democrats like Ro Khanna and the others whom you saw on that press conference outside of Capitol Hill, who are trying to push this hoax against the President of the United States.
What is the hoax? I'm just trying to understand what's fake. What's fake is not the documents.
The hoax is the Democrats pretending to care about victims of crime when they do not care about victims of crime, when they have done nothing to solve crimes, when they have done nothing to lock up child pedophiles and child rapists across the country, and when they are now using victims as political props to try and, again, smear the President of the United States and drag on this bad story about him. It is a distraction. The Democrats view this story as nothing more than an attempt to distract from the accomplishments and the achievements of this administration. And that is what we mean when we call it a hoax.
If he didn't sign these, if you said he didn't...
Okay, so just to be clear, she was talking about Democrats at that news conference the other week. I just want to say, she said the other Democrats, well, the other people that were there, the lawmakers, were Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. I don't think anybody would in their right mind ever call them even close to approximating a Democrat. They're two of the most conservative Republicans, far out there Republicans in the House conference, and they're the ones that are demanding a floor vote on the Epstein files. They're the ones signing on to the discharge petition. By the way, that petition was brought by Thomas Massey first, not the Democrats. So just a little context there. All right, Lisa Rubin, thank you so much for explaining what was in that birthday book.